my point is, I've worked in public health. I've worked for workers all my life to try to raise up the workers, and that's what I'd like to continue. So I'd like to say that, first of all, I'm tired of government against the people, and that's what we've got in the state of Arizona. And so a lot of people say, why are you running? You have a good job, you know, why would you decide to go part-time at the Journal in order to go up to the legislature and fight the good fight? And it's like, well, part of it is because I am a fighter. And so I've been looking at wages and the economy in Arizona, as you know, Jim and I are co-directors for Arizonans for a New Economy. And there was an article for Women's Equality Day back in August that said that the median wage for women in Tucson was $10.75 an hour. And that is, Tucson is actually one of the worst cities in the country for wage gap between men and women. The other is also a recent article in the Arizona Daily Star that said that for Pima County, the median wage was $15 an hour. So many of you are aware of the Fight for 15. So what Fight for 15 is, if the minimum wage was raised to $15 an hour, that means more than 50% of the women in Tucson would get a raise because of our wages are so depressed right here now. And so economists, you know, the Republicans say, well, we can't raise the minimum wage because people will have to lay people off and in order to pay people more, pay a few people more. So economists say that in order to raise the minimum wage in a town, the current median wage, the $15 an hour, has to be not more than 50% of the current median wage. That means the median wage would be like $30 an hour, and ours is $10.75 an hour. That's how far out of whack the Southern Arizona economy is. We are so far down the line, and so I want to fight for these people. I think they should be making a decent wage, you know. And I know that LD9 is a mixed area down in Midtown where we live. There are a lot more poor people, and it's a lot more diverse. Up into the foothills, you get more rich people, but I think we can convince the rich people that they're not subsidizing the fast food worker who wants to make $15 an hour. With the current system, we're subsidizing McDonald's and we're subsidizing Walmart, and it's time to raise these people up, as far as I'm concerned. And so, next slide. So what we have is we have a budget based on the lie of austerity in the state of Arizona. And so we want to grow the economy rather than starving it. Right now, the economy is being starved since the Wall Street crash. Arizona has not recovered at the same rate as other states because they are cutting budgets, they're laying off workers, they're promoting call centers and warehouses, which are historically bad places to work as far as wage theft. And so we need to turn this around, because the austerity measures like budget cuts and layoffs and privatization, they don't work for the common man. Those only work for the big corporations. So like I said, what we have is the economy that austerity built. And you know, the politicians are still saying we need to cut budgets. You know, Ducey doesn't want to spend money, you know, doesn't want to give a fair shake to the education, and it goes all the way down the line. And basically, what they're doing is they're still starving, and they're not going to dig us out of this hole by starving the economy. And so, so my plan is to, I have multiple ideas to either raise revenue without raising taxes or to save money. And so that's what my plan is, because I think that we need to raise money. We just can't keep cutting, and we can't give away money to corporations that are not headquartered in Arizona. And so the main points here are, like I said, grow the economy, don't starve it, end the austerity measures, establish a public bank. This is one of the things that Jim and I have been preaching for years now, to bring our money back from Wall Street and invest it locally in jobs, in infrastructure, in education, and like I said, growing the economy and not starving it. I would also propose to cut the corporate loopholes. I know this is something the Democrats have been talking about for years, but I think we should hammer them on wasting money. I started a hashtag, Stop Tea Party Waste, you know, because the corporate loopholes and the corporate tax cuts, those are Tea Party waste. And if we can, get rid of this, the idea that they're business friendly, we already know that big corporations are not coming here because of the education. So the lower taxes for corporations isn't doing us any good, and we need to stop these failed austerity policies. The other things that I have on my plan are paycheck fairness for women and minorities. Arizona is one of the states that never passed the Equal Rights Amendment, and as far as I'm concerned, women are never going to have equality in this country without the Equal Rights Amendment. I helped Victoria Steele propose the Equal Rights Amendment a couple of years in the legislature, and I want to carry on that legacy. But we also need to look at minorities, because there's a lot of minorities and undocumented workers who are being paid less than prevailing wage. And so when you have that large of a percentage of our area not making a living wage, the rest of us all pay for it. I mean, we pay for it in crime, we pay for it in, food stamps, child care subsidies, and again, we're subsidizing those big corporations that are not paying enough, or we're subsidizing those employers that are hired undocumented workers for $2 an hour because those guys don't know that the minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. I know people who have worked as undocumented workers for landlords, wealthy landlords and restaurants in this town, and the employers are getting away with murder the way they treat these people, and we need to bring them out of the shadows and pay them fair wages.